We're going to bring in criminal profiler Pat Brown. Pat, good morning to you.
Good morning, Meredith.
Let's talk big picture first. What portrait do these letters paint of Casey Anthony?
Well, they're a wonderful window into how a psychopath thinks and what she's trying to accomplish. She is, first of all, just enjoying herself. She's using this new friend of hers for her own fun and games, and she is also trying to rehabilitate herself in her own mind, justify that she didn't do anything wrong and that she's really a great person. And that makes her feel good. And if these letters ever do get out, and I'm sure actually the defense wants them to, this will prove that she's a changed woman. After all, she's found God and she's concerned about everybody's well-being, and also she paints herself as a victim, and that's very important for going in front of the jury. If she can make them feel sorry for her, look what's happened to her in her life. She had a horrible life, and that's why she doesn't want her. She's kind of happy her daughter doesn't have to go through it. She's been sexually abused by her brother and her father, and she's just been a miserable person, and now she's found God.
Yeah, you talk about her, this indicating that she's trying to rehabilitate her image for herself or maybe for a jury or whomever, because there is a theory here that she wanted these letters to be out there. The contents of these letters, might they make a jury more sympathetic toward her?
Absolutely. What happens a lot of times when women go to court is that they present themselves in such a way that the jury starts feeling sorry for them. We don't have that tendency with men. We just sort of go, yeah, we don't buy that. But with women, especially if they start going down the I'm going to Bible study route and I'm a changed person and I've been abused, they start thinking, you know, maybe she was just a disturbed girl. She's gone through so much. Maybe she didn't know what she was really doing, and she was confused and just kind of lost it. And we just can't, you know, like, give her the death penalty when obviously she's really not that bad a person.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the specific comments that she writes about her daughter, Kaylee, including, she says, I've had to forgive what happened to my Kaylee, but I'm still angry. If it weren't for God, I would end whoever is responsible. She also writes in her letters, not a day goes by that I don't think about Kaylee and wish that I could have protected her better. I was a great mom. What are those comments that she wrote to her pen pal Robin say to you about the relationship between Casey and Kaylee?
Well, that's the imagined relationship she wants to put forth now. Obviously, after her daughter went missing, she was out partying, so she wasn't all that concerned about her. Obviously, she knew what happened to her, but she wasn't that concerned, and she didn't put out that image before when she wasn't worried about people looking at her. But now she wants to say, I was a good mother, and I loved her every day of my life. But I've got such a soft heart now that I've found God that I would forgive somebody who did this. So if I would forgive somebody who would do something terrible to the daughter I loved, wouldn't you forgive me for doing something maybe if I couldn't help myself?
You know, Pat, she also talks about these RV vacations with Robin and getting her hair done when she gets out of jail. That kind of girl talk, is it just simply that, or is she somebody out of touch with reality, or do you think it's all manipulation?
Well, it's a combination of things. It is manipulation, but it's also the fact that she's got a lot of hours of the day and she likes to fantasize. And this is one of the problems with putting a psychopath in jail and not giving them the death penalty. They find ways to amuse themselves. They can have fun in one way or the other. If it's flirting with the guards, or if it's starting to get people on the outside to start writing you letters and feeling bad for you, or if it's going to Bible study groups and having people say, oh, you're a great person. Or sometimes you start getting on those prison dating sites and you say, wait, I'm a great gal, and then you have guys writing to you and you start love affairs, and sometimes you even get married in prison. Isn't that wonderful? So you can have a life in prison that is pretty darn good for a psychopath, and that's why I'm in support of the death penalty for that, because I don't think you can punish these kind of people enough in jail.
Do you think these letters are admissible in a court of law in Florida? Do you think they will become part of any trial?
Oh, I certainly think the defense is going to try to use them, because I think they'll try to portray her as the abused child when she was growing up, and a person who has changed, and that she really probably, she says in one of her letters that she was just a young woman who was stressed out a lot, and she just tried to do what other young women would do, like go out and party and have a fun time. So maybe she made a mistake. Maybe she accidentally overdosed her child. She didn't do it on purpose. So they're really going to push the sympathy ploy, and I hope the prosecution, on the other hand, will try to show that these letters are the letters of a manipulative psychopath and not have the jury buy that.
The defense could also point at this woman, Robin Adams, who's, you know, the prisoner pen pal, and say, well, look at her own credibility is very much in question. She's the one who just said, as was pointed out in the piece, that, you know, this is huge. I may be the only thing standing between her life in prison and her freedom. She's the one making these statements now that Casey told her, I use chloroform on my daughter occasionally if I wanted to go out at night to put her to sleep.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a problem, because this woman may have her own personality disorder and be manipulative as well. So I don't know that we can believe what she says. I don't think that Casey's stupid enough to tell her stuff like that. Or if she is, she just figures nobody's going to buy it from her either. So I think that's not going to work so well in court.
All right, Pat Brown, thank you so much for your perspective this morning.
Thanks, Meredith.